1059 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
Here we go. Off and running with you. That's what I'm talking about. What do you want to get into today? Welcome in. Today is Thursday. It is wide open. Also, this show is live. That means it's happening right now as we speak. Yep, happening as we speak, which means you can be a part of it. I hope you will be. Anybody who's listened to this show knows that it is better when others participate. For whatever that means. All right, so text me or call me, or you can comment on the live stream if you're out there in YouTube and Facebook and X, formerly Twitter land. Just type in a comment there if that's where you're watching the stream, and it'll pop up here on the screen. We can all see it and then see what you have to say or what you got on your mind. Text me on the Country Pleasing text line. I'll give you that number coming up. You can call me as well on the Divinity Equipment phone line. That number is forthcoming as well. But here we are during a time of year where some people talk about recruiting and whatnot. Other people talk about, NFL training camp and whatnot, and who got cut and all that stuff. Not really there yet, but getting close. Some, preview the upcoming college football season ad nauseum. We get a little bit of that, but we don't drive anybody sick over it. And then there are others that discuss important topics like microwave bacon. Now, with more on that, I bring in Beaver. Beaver, happy Thursday.
You too, Matt Wyatt.
One day closer to the weekend, sir.
Indeed.
One day closer to a heaping helping of country-pleasing sausage and other goodies on a plate that we're going to deliver to you tomorrow at the radio station.
Yeah, Bill mentioned that today because he said, oh, yeah, Matt Wyatt called me today. He was making sure, everything's set for tomorrow. And then, Bill, he said, yeah, you're supposed to get some food delivered to you. And I said, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that happens. And he goes, well, if anything else, I'll bring you some.
Wait a minute. Has he ever done that before? Ever brought you some from a remote before? No, he hasn't, has he?
I was brought a plate. Well, because you don't do a ton of remotes. I don't remember where you were. Well, but
somebody brought
it had to be down at Divinity one time. Anyway,
that's probably what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember. So I was brought a plate. I don't remember if it was you or Bill.
Yeah,
I don't know. But he said if nothing else, I'll bring you one. And, Matt says he's going to bring you one, so we might both bring you some. Then you'll have double. And I said, well, I'm all for that.
He's thinking. The man is thinking. Yep. And for those listening who don't understand, what he's talking about is tomorrow we are going to be doing this show at this time live at Camper Corral up in Madison. Looking forward to that. And the reason is it started today, so it's going on right now. Their customer appreciation sale. They have huge discounts on all kinds of stuff. Campers, RVs, also all the parts that they sell and everything. So it's a big sale. And it starts today, it goes through Saturday, and we'll be there tomorrow for the radio show. But, Beav, okay, full disclosure for those listening, I sort of said to Beaver before the show something along the lines of, what in the world are we going to talk about today? And Beaver, you threw out the idea of microwave bacon. And then I feel like you were a little taken aback by how passionate I was about that subject.
Yeah, you shot back quick.
I even wrote it down and underlined it because I wanted to get to it. Now, when we say microwave bacon, what were you talking about? Like if you were to be specific or try to be.
So what had happened was just this morning, I've already been to the Krogs already on this day, and I purchased Oscar Mayer fully cooked microwavable bacon.
Okay.
And I used to get a brand sometimes from Costco. They had a big pack of microwave bacon. Hadn't had it in a long time. And when I bought this stuff today, and the reason I mentioned the microwave bacon to you is because people already have this debate. Let's not get into that. That's not the crux of the matter. You know, bacon is so bad. It's terrible. Don't eat bacon. We've heard that so many years. But my specific question is, if it's already supposed to be bad, if you've somehow made bacon to where it can be fully cooked and be stored for a while, then now I'm wondering, what else am I ingesting in that microwave bacon that I just bought?
Yeah. What's in it?
Yeah.
I think it's totally a fair question. Beaver, this is what I was going to bring to the table to this. Okay, and this is speaking from experience. There are some types of pre-cooked microwavable bacon that I've had that I don't like. There is one kind, though, that I have had that I do like and approve of. And believe it or not, Beaver, believe it or not, Beaver, it is the Kroger brand. You know, like if you go to Kroger, like it's kind of like at Walmart, there's Great Value. You know, there's regular Cheerios, and then there's the Great Value Cheerios, right? They're the knockoff brand of Walmart. Well, you know, Kroger has its own brand of all kinds of stuff too, right? Were you aware that Kroger had their own brand of this?
Yeah, because it was actually sitting right next to the Oscar Mayer.
Okay. And you chose Oscar Mayer because you're thinking name brand, right? It's got to be better.
I liked the numbers on the back a little better.
What do you mean, the price?
A little more protein.
Okay, so you were looking at, I got you a little more. Okay. Well, I don't know how that translates as far as taste. I'm just telling you, I think if you'll go back and give that Kroger box a try, you may be surprised. I can even tell you exactly what to put it on in your microwave to make it just right. Okay. Let me say this too. All right. Here's another experience I want to mention to you. I don't know the brand. I really don't. We were away like on a vacation recently, and we go to a grocery store. That was a brand of grocery store they had at this place that we don't have at home. And so there's lots of different stuff in there, and including Annabeth bought this box of it's bacon that you put it in the microwave. But Beaver, it comes in a bag, in a plastic bag, and it's sealed. It's like, heat sealed around the edges of it. Okay. And it's like 3 or 4 pieces in each bag. Inside of it is some thing that sort of soaks up the grease, and you cook it in that bag. I was very skeptical, thought it would probably come out soggy and not good. I was very surprised at how good it was. If you followed the instructions to the letter, I was very surprised at how good it was. Now, all that said, I've given you 2 examples of microwave bacon that I liked. Are you disappointed in me? That's my follow-up question.
Well, why would I be disappointed?
For liking microwave bacon. People will chastise you for liking something that isn't old-fashioned, tried and true, you know?
Oh, well, I already see a couple of people on the text line seemingly doing that.
That's what I'm saying.
Mike, you know me. Now, you can probably guess my main reason for this, because what's my motto, Matt Wyatt? Give me convenience or give me death. I don't want to cook bacon the old way in a pan or on a griddle, whatever. You got grease flying everywhere. You got to clean it up, then you got to clean up the pan.
Yeah.
Microwave bacon, it's so much easier. It's right there.
I mean,
Convenience.
okay, there's a couple of points I want to bring up from people in this discussion. And first of all, I would like to say, yeah, we do a lot of sports on this station and on this show. If you're just tuning in, driving through, you got it at the right place. And we'll get around to that. Hang on. This is important. Somewhere in the back of Beaver's mind right now, he's thinking, I got to be careful what I say to Matt because he'll do 15 minutes of radio on it. Now, that's pretty funny. White Denzel sent me a picture. Someone took a picture of two guys on the Pirates baseball team in the dugout. They're standing next to each other. On the left is Newman. On the right is Kramer. And so Seinfeld reference. And then he cut to a shot at the bottom of Newman and Kramer. How about that? Robbie texted and said, "What's up, Matt? Hope you're having a good day." And then says, "Microwave bacon is hot garbage." Tell us how you really feel, Robbie. Jason in Flagstaff. He remembers the temperature and humidity discussion yesterday on the show with Dog Tired in Florence. And he said, tell Dog Tired it was 31 degrees here when I got up this morning. Down from 85 yesterday afternoon at 5 p.m. How about that? Flagstaff got down to 31 last night. That is ridiculous. Scott texted the show. Matt, microwave bacon is an absolute no-go. Not happening. Not no, but heck no. Well, the fact that you said heck no, let's step over here to the side real quick. We're gonna leave the bacon discussion and come right back to it. But let me ask this. Beaver, how do you feel about personalized car tags?
Most of them are really dumb. There's some clever ones out there, but
yeah,
most of them are. I pull up behind someone, and if I have to sit there and really think about what your tag says, and then it's not well done.
Not well done. There was the reason I'm asking you, this past weekend at the boat ramp, I saw a vehicle parked, and the personalized tag on the vehicle simply said 2 words. It said, heck yeah. Heck yeah. I even thought about it a while ago because when I got here, somebody had texted earlier today to another show on the Country Pleasing text line, and that was what it said, heck yeah. And it reminded me of that. That's all it said, B. Personalized tag. I don't know what you have to pay for those things because I've never had one, but it said heck yeah.
I can get behind that.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah, I can get behind a heck yeah tag, I think.
What about heck no? That's what Scott said regarding microwave bacon. Anyhow, hey, Papa Paul, hey, congratulations. Absolutely. Paul texted the show. He said it's announced today, Andrea Patterson, I believe that is his daughter, Andrea Patterson, is the new executive director of the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame and Museum. Congratulations, Miss Patterson. You know, and Paul, I've gotten so many emails when she sends out the email blasts of all their information and their PR and their press releases over the years. You know, I see her name and I feel like I know her. I don't know that I've ever met Andrea, but I'm really glad that she stepped up, Bill retiring, and I know she'll do a great job, and congrats to you and to her and the family. Now, here, Beaver, this is kind of, I was looking forward to getting to this text from Bob. He simply said, you can microwave any kind of bacon. Now, doesn't he have a point?
I guess you could, but does it all cook the same?
No. Beav, what's the best way to cook bacon? Hey, Beav, hold on, buddy. Now we're having a radio show. What's the best way to cook bacon? And by best, I mean your favorite way, because that's all it is. I mean, it's a personal deal. And, and I guess there's only so many variations of adding, applying extreme heat to raw meat. But what's the best way to cook bacon? Do you have a best way to cook it? I do. I am convinced the best way to cook bacon is you, on a great big pan of tinfoil, like in the oven. Right. Baked in the oven. I couldn't remember if you're using the bake settings or if you're using a broiler. But I don't think you're using a broiler. That would probably be too quick, too fast, right? But I think that's, for me, it's baking it in the oven. Great big pan, tinfoil. You're going to have some grease when it's all said and done, but I think it cooks it best. And the downside, though, is it takes a little longer, and there is some cleanup involved. It ties up your oven, but I think it's the best way to cook it. Bob, you're right. You can microwave it. You can microwave just about anything. All right. Sven says on YouTube that bacon on a charcoal grill is unbeatable. Earlier, Sven also said microwave food is disgusting. Not if, when, or no if, whens, or buts. It's disgusting, he says. Here's what I have not done. Joe Mailman said air fry it. Raise your hand out there if you've ever air fried bacon. We have an air fryer. And man, that thing is wonderful. Air fried bacon. I'll have to try that. Jason out in Arizona says microwave bacon is great if you fork over the big bucks for a good brand. The cheap stuff turns into dog treats. That's one way to say it. Mailman David said microwave bacon for breakfast is a no, but to add a little extra to a sandwich at lunch, big yes. Now we have gotten to a point now. We are differentiating in the application of microwave bacon. Standalone, breakfast, nope. Putting it on your sandwich, totally fine. What do you think about that? Robbie texted. He said he's the one that told me that microwave bacon is hot garbage. Robbie said, I'm just saying, my wife cooks it in the oven and it's just not the same, but don't tell her she thinks I love it. You don't like the way she cooks it in the oven? Jared says, have either of you had bacon cooked in the oven? Yes, that's what we were just talking about. It's the way to go. And if you have he says, if you have that next to microwave bacon, I don't see how you could ever want one over the other. And no convenience doesn't matter when it comes to better, he says. Well, see, that's the thing about cooking it in the oven is it is not convenient. Mac in Vicksburg agrees, baked in the oven. Scott, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Talking about you can cook bacon in the microwave. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. As far as the best way to cook it, deep fried in peanut oil. Come on, Scott. Boy, how big old boy are you? That's what I'm talking about. Fry that bacon. RT says use wax paper on the bottom in the oven. It works. It's not the best, but good. Yeah, better than tinfoil. Dog Tired in Florence says put a wet napkin over raw bacon, then in the microwave. Microwaves excess water molecules on the subject. Bacon has a lot of water, therefore let her rip. Look at here. Delta Tide fan. Got it down to a science. He says it depends on how crispy you like your bacon. I like mine almost burnt and I do mine in the oven at 400 degrees. Usually do anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes. Is that the real bacon, the real stuff? Like, okay, Annabeth and I were driving through Philadelphia the other day. Hey, and don't tell, Denzel, don't tell Prince I said that, okay? My man, Philip, the Prince of Neshoba County, don't tell him I said that. Because if he hears that I even ventured near Philadelphia and didn't call him, then he won't speak to me for like a week. Okay, but we were in a hurry. We were driving through there. And I pointed out to her, what is it, Williams Brothers Grocery? The one that's been in the Manning family? Well, I think it's on not Archie's side, but her side of the family, Olivia's side of the family. But I think it's been in that family forever and ever, right? You've seen the pictures of Peyton and Eli working in the summers at Williams Grocery. I think is the name of it. But anyway, that's one of the pictures is Peyton there on the machine where they cut and slice the actual big, thick bacon, wrap it in parchment paper and send you home with a big old helping of it. I got some of that one time, thanks to Philip Prince. And you talk about good. Take that real bacon, thick slice, the real stuff, put it in the oven, bake it in the oven. Your tongue slap your hat off. Hey, listen. That's 20 minutes of bacon talk. Happy Thursday. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Hoffman with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com, at a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here in the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about
Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com.
1059 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
Back with you, I'm Matt, in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau all across the great state of Mississippi. Talked a little bit about bacon, wrapping that up. Speaking of, is there anything better to wrap other things in than bacon? Bacon wrap this and bacon wrap that. You want to sell $1 million or something? Bacon wrap it. Kenny Don't Call Me Ken has a technique. Beaver, did you happen to see what Kenny texted to the show about how he cooks bacon?
Let me see.
Yeah, look at this. This has potential right here. Kenny says, I fry bacon in a skillet, add 1/4 of an inch of water. When the water evaporates, the bacon will remain flat. Does that interest you, Beaver? Being able to cook bacon so it remains flat? Does me. Kenny, thanks for the tip. Delta Dog said, Kroger Black Label bacon is great. I had my doubts about microwave bacon, but my wife made me try it and loved it. RT, his cooking method, best way to cook bacon, $4.25 on uncooked microwave bacon. Just depends on thickness and brand. Not one batch cooks the same in a trip to the bath. Dog Tired says, do you put molasses on your bacon? I never have. I think I know people who have. Hey, Dog Tired says Country Pleasing has sow belly cut bacon. Bring that on. Bring it on. Put some molasses on that. How big an old boy are you? I'm all about it. All right. Hey, Sven, I saw this earlier. For those looking at the live stream, you can see it. Sven commented right out of the chutes. This is on YouTube on the live stream. And he said, Hail State, everyone. He says, well, the University of Wisconsin suing the University of Miami for tampering with one of their players. Says that the state of Michigan made a law that allows any NIL deal in the state of Michigan. Yeah, like they can't, but it allows it, but you've got state laws out there that say, you can't punish them. And then you've got leagues going, well, look, if you're a school and you're going to operate according to that law versus what you agree to do as a part of this league, then you're out. You're out of the league. Very interesting. And then Sven said, boys and girls, get ready for 2,000 court cases a day. It is not getting better. It is getting worse. I saw a blip about that, and I don't know how y'all are, but I've started to react more and more to all of the underside of college football, the major college sports that are going along now with everything all the stuff you like. There's this underside to it, right? Because there is the pageantry and your school and the mascots and the games and the tailgating and the fight song and all those different, all the stuff you like about it. That time, the fall time of year, playing football, all that stuff. But then you get that underside, right? And, just paying people to play, calling it NIL, not really even make them go to school. Nobody really cares if they do or don't. I saw something the other day that said Stetson Bennett was at Georgia was in college for 6 years and was at Georgia for 4 or 5, and they said he had not graduated. I mean, I don't know. That's what it said, though. But that and then the transfer portal and then the tampering deal. It's like this underside that I've gotten to where now when I start to see that stuff come across the screen, I just roll my eyes at it. It's kind of the way I was with that. I saw it somewhere. Wisconsin suing Miami for tampering with football players. And I'm just like, okay, all right. Here we go. And you're right, Sven. There'll be lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. I mean, I don't think there's any way to avoid it. Yeah, it's only going to get worse. I don't know. I have a sneaky suspicion that it is going to get worse. But I am thankful that it's just right around the corner, to have some actual games. I mean, maybe that makes me a hypocrite. I've kind of been that way the last couple of years, though. And I'm just admitting it, that once the games begin to happen, I enjoy the games. I enjoy watching the games, keeping up with it, see who wins, loses, and see how the games go. I like all that. And then, kind of let go of everything else. And a lot of people are that way. So what are we? I don't know. I want to say, what are we, 64? I bookmarked it. I've just got to find it. I got it somewhere. A countdown specifically for this football season, right down to kickoff between State and Southern Miss. Yeah, 64 days. MSU at USM, 64 days, 22 hours, 27 minutes, and 13, 12, 11, 10 seconds. 64 days, 22 hours, and 27 minutes. We're getting closer and closer. Right at just a hair over 2 months. And so we'll have some real games to get into. For now, though, let's hit some headlines.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world.
Good evening, and welcome to Eyewitness News.
Here's what's making news.
Headlines on the show brought to you by the Mortgage Man Group, powered by Luminate Bank. Anything mortgage related, that's where you want to go. Buying, refinancing, whatever. Go to mortgagemanms.com. Start right there. You'll see my man Went McGee and his smiling face. Went! He stays busy. Go to mortgagemanms.com. Last night in Major League Baseball, the Rays won again. So did the Yankees. So they remain a game apart. They gave Jake Mangum the night off. And still they let him pinch hit. What do? He got a hit. One at bat, one hit for Jake. So he's way up over 300. I also did notice last night, for those out there like me who've been keeping up and following the Rays this year primarily because of Jake Mangum, they brought up Simpson. What's his name? Chandler Simpson, the speed burner. He's out of Georgia Tech. He was up earlier this year when Jake was hurt some. Jake comes back. He went back down. Now he's back up. They brought him back up. And, man, he's fun to watch. He was 2 for 4 last night. So I mentioned their game apart. Yankees won big 7-1, out hit the Reds last night 13-4. So they stay a game up. But tonight, here on Thursday, the Yankees don't play and the Rays do. So if the Rays could complete a sweep of the Royals, then by virtue of the Yankees not playing, that would get them less than a game. It would be half game out. So, yeah, you never know. It's fun to follow it. Braves got whipped by the Mets last night, 7-3. They got out hit 13-6. So there's an update on that. It was a 3-zip shutout, too, by the way, for the Rays. Rays have shut out Kansas City twice in a row now. And for old school Giants fans, you might find this interesting. Morehead State is renaming its football stadium after Phil Simms, quarterback of the New York Giants, won Super Bowl 21. Remember Phil Simms? Yep, they're naming their stadium after him. Official dedication is going to take place at the stadium. It's in Morehead, Kentucky. That'll be during homecoming week. Simms played for Morehead State 74 through 78. He's a Kentucky native, by the way. And Ohio Valley Conference guy. And he was one of those who, back then, you came out of Morehead State and hit it big in the NFL. Everybody goes, where did he play? Because it wasn't Penn State or Notre Dame or somewhere like that. And, yeah, really cool story. So they're going to name their football stadium after him. And those are your headlines brought to you by the Mortgage Man Group, powered by Illuminate Bank here in Mississippi. Find them online at mortgagemanms.com. Over to the phone lines real quick before the music starts. Wayne hanging on line 1. What's up, Wayne?
Man, ain't much. Just been a dead fever. I got a brother the other day, went to the eye doctor and lost my dang cell phone.
You lost your cell phone at the eye doctor?
Somewhere. Either buying it for Earl or somewhere.
Well,
I'm headed back. I sat over in my Sam's parking lot trying to get it reprogrammed to my vehicle.
Yeah. Well, wait, are you saying, how are you calling us?
Well, I'm talking about I got me another cell phone.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right.
But, oh, yeah, but our Vegas comes to Southern now. Y'all don't knock all the feathers off of it.
I don't know if you have to worry about that. Until I see otherwise, I'm expecting a competitive game.
It's going to be interesting now.
Yeah. And hot.
That AstroTurf down there.
Yeah.
I so hated that lady at basketball coach that retired, passed away.
Yeah, I saw that. Hey, Wayne, the music is about to cut us off. Call me anytime, all right?
Will y'all get
Man, ever since Coach got
I'm
his new phone...
with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both. Break me off a piece of that. Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland. where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the
and tell him what you think right now on the Zone 1059 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
All right, back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. Danny on YouTube says, Hail State, Matt, from Owasso, Michigan. A vacation where I am tasked with educating some Big Ten relatives about the supremacy of the SEC. A daunting task indeed, Danny says. Did I say it correctly? Owasso, Michigan. Danny, thanks for tuning in on vacation up there, and keep doing the Lord's work. Let them know. And don't be obnoxious, but, let them know. What's the weather like in Owasso, Michigan? Is that why you go up there this time of year? It's much cooler? What are you doing? You fishing? Is that near one of the Great Lakes? Some of that stuff up there where they have tremendous smallmouth bass fishing up there in and around and close to and that area. Some of those Great Lakes. I've always wanted to do that. I never had the opportunity, but I would love to. Jason in Flagstaff. He said, I've gotten to where I don't really want to hear about anything regarding sports except the games themselves. He said it's so old with the unnecessary drama. Yeah. I mean, I think it's true. Jason, it's funny how we've done that. I've done that. Yeah, one thing, a lot of the drama, as you say, and the issues and ugliness, and, unseemliness of the era, particularly college sports that we're living in, that it has done for me. It's kind of naturally almost. It's just driven me right over to on the field, and that's it. I'm not sure it's not a good thing. I mean, maybe it is a good thing. I guess what I'm saying. Just focus on the field. The last couple of weeks even, it's almost like a habit, I think, Jason, for so long, for such a huge part of my life, for so long, I would really look forward to football in the fall. Both as a kid when you're going to get to play in high school and college and all that, and then since then, covering it for a living in one shape, form, or fashion. I would really look forward to it so much in the fall that this time of year, June, especially late June, when you'd be close to getting about a month away from teams reporting and practice starting in late July, early August, and all that kind of stuff. And I would really get to, developing a hunger for it. Okay, so it was almost a habit to do that every year about this time because I did it for so long. And that sort of went away the last couple of years a little bit, one reason or another. This year, though, even the last couple of weeks, I did it again. I started to just develop a hunger for, two teams, 11 on 11, us versus them, put the ball on the field, let's play 4 quarters, play an actual game that means something. And I look forward to it. And it drove me to begin to study a little bit and look at, okay, who are the players that are on the roster, who's been added. That's why the whole defensive line thing popped up to me when I started studying some of that. Got interested in it. Then yesterday when Hunter, I think it was, either texted or commented on YouTube, one or the other, about those two defensive analysts that are added to the Mississippi State coaching staff, defensive analysts, Paul Rhodes and Mike McIntyre. Well, I started thinking about it. Yeah. And then went and looked them up, read, become a little more familiar with some of the exact details of their career journey. Both of them have been at it for a long time. And, I kind of got back into making the weekly video for the YouTube channel over there, the Matt Wyatt Media channel, which is primarily a sports deal. I got some others, but that's a sports one. But got back into making weekly videos there, and so I thought, well, that's what we'll talk about on the one this week. We actually just recorded that this morning. We'll get it posted maybe tonight or something. But overall thoughts and some specific thoughts about the difference that those two guys might make. And, for someone like me, and when I get into that, I'm looking at specifics. I'm not sitting here affected by whether or not it's going to help them win a national championship or not. I don't care about that. That's not part of my thinking. I'm genuinely interested, Jason, in the on-field product enough to go, okay, if I see marked improvement on that defensive side of the ball, then it could be a lot more fun to watch this team this year than it was last year. You know what I mean? You might go into some games feeling like you had a better chance and, some of that stuff. So I guess all of that to say that I think for me, and it's been a good thing that what happened in college sports and what is happening with college sports. I'm not even, it's teams that are associated with colleges, but that's really about the only thing that's college about it. It's kind of a weird, peculiar arrangement, so to speak. But because of that, it's caused me I don't pay attention to the drama. It's caused me to get to a point I don't care about the drama at all. Oh, like Sven noted earlier, here's a school out here that they're going to sue another school for tampering with their players to get them in the transfer portal. And then out here is much ballyhooed, quote unquote, NIL deal that lured a certain player to a certain school in, again, quote unquote, recruiting. Well, you and I know all that's just a big pile of bull. All that is. It's like you're Biff on the town square in Back to the Future. That's you. You're Biff. And they back up a truck full of manure and just dump it on you. Fill your car with it. That's what that is. That's what all that is. Okay? Make no mistake. That's what all that is. So, you know, let them shovel that out. I'm just not going to be around with my car for them to shovel it on me when it comes to all of that stuff. But when it comes to on the field, D linemen, linebackers, scheme, 3-4, 4-3, cover 2, right? You know, trips, motion, 50-50 run pass. You know, the stuff on the field, it is the same for me. I still enjoy it. I still look forward to that. And it's this whole environment that we're living through here in college football in particular has forced me, and I think a lot of people like me, to completely and utterly unplug from anything about the sport that isn't the ball game. And if anybody were to argue, well, all of that stuff affects the ball game, I don't care. Not to me, it doesn't, because it doesn't exist. I've made it invisible. And I think that's what a lot of people have done. That's what a lot of people have done. It's like a couple of years ago when this whole NIL thing popped. I think it was Ole Miss. And Lord knows, I mean, they've when it comes to pay for play and all that, they're like, man, I tell you, they're the poster child. And they are. And they're having success with that model, right? Because you can get away with it. I mean, that's just what it is. But they, just like everybody else, would pay some cat to transfer there and to play football. And if he doesn't go to class, well, that's fine. As long as nobody knows. Okay, but then they back up that manure truck, dump it on you, and tell you that it's name, image, and likeness. And they're going to make appearances and stuff. Well, then they go and they shoot about a 45-second video of like a few guys handing out meals. Like there's some people that are going to get to eat a meal. And it showed a football player getting the meal off the truck and taking it and handing it to somebody, like kind of almost like a conveyor line of handing meals out. And I thought, okay, so you want me to believe that it's this kind of thing in exchange for $1.3 million to play football. So you see what I'm saying? And what has happened is they've even quit. There's some places, Ole Miss and others, there's some places tried that for a little while and then realized, look, not only is this not fooling anybody, it may even have a backwards effect. Just don't put anything out there. Our fans don't care if they're actually, quote unquote, earning NIL. No, they don't care. They just want to see us play football on Saturday. And so it's really, again, it's really forced all of us to just, we look inside the lines, think about X's and O's and blocking and tackling. And that's it. And maybe that's a good thing. Hour 2 coming up. Stick around.
I'm 𝐌𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢 with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel,
team stuff. I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online, murraywest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up to a friend of mine that was an agent here at Farm Bureau that, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community. And what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade. And what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. What that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, "Country pleasing, please." They'll know what you're talking about.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call
800-578-1437. That's 800-578-1437.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Testing.
We are live from Chick-fil-A.
This is Grant.
And this is Laura.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that sweet bun.
And that chicken filet was perfectly crispy and soft at the same time.
And that Smokehouse Barbecue sauce, it's a lot of fun. And the brown sugar bacon definitely had a little bit more pizzazz. Also, the mac, one of the all-time greats. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
11-year-old Mehdi lives in Ethiopia in extreme poverty. Child Fund works in 25 countries to ensure that millions of children like Mehdi grow up healthy, educated, self-sufficient, and safe. Learn more at childfund.org.
For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving.
Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
We are good to go.
With more of the Matt Wyatt Show. Coming to you direct and live at the Zone 105.9 and worldwide.
Now, here we go.
At the Zone 105.9.com.
Back with you. I am a happy fella. I'm a happy fella. Hang on. That's part of the reason why. Hot coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. Go to highpointroasters.com. Get you some of their coffee there. It comes in great big 1-pound bags. You're not going to run out anytime soon. This is a new flavor, and I can't remember. I'm going to have to go and look. I can't remember the name of it. It's a new single origin from somewhere around the world that they have, and it's really good, and now I'm drawing a blank. Well, that's great, isn't it? I'll think of it later. Just trust me, it's good. And there's all kinds of stuff there on the website. So I got hot coffee here to start hour number 2 of the show in the Bureau. That is the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance all across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes at your local Farm Bureau Insurance agents. I got this hot coffee. And I'm using it to wash down something that the homecoming queen brought to the studio and laid on my desk. It's one of those, it's shaped like a muffin because it came in a muffin, what do you call that? A muffin what? What are them little cupcake things? Muffin tin, not tin. What do you call that? Anyhow, it is one of those bricks that is like a combination of peanut butter and corn flakes. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Many, many, many convenience stores and gas stations around the southeastern United States, you pop in there, and while you're checking out, you look, and there's that little kiosk or display of goodies right next to the checkout. Brownies, little homemade pies. And these things. And I love them. And I could eat a lot bigger one than that, too. And I used to. But there's another side to this. And it's this. If you know a young person who, let's say, you know, his mom and daddy didn't let him play football when he was, you know, small, you know, 6th grade, 7th grade, because he was too small. And he just can't seem to put on weight. Get him on a diet of these things. Okay. I don't know anybody who can't put on weight eating that. I sent Beaver a picture of it, said, you know what this is? And he diagnosed it right away. Right away. It's tongue slap your hat off good. It's good. It's not as good, but it's almost as good as country pleasing sausage. Yeah. And we're going to fill up on that tomorrow too. That's it, because we are smack dab right today. You don't know if you know this, but today we are smack dab in the middle of the first day of the customer appreciation sale going on at Camper Corral up in Madison. And tomorrow, at this exact time, we will be starting hour number 2 of this radio show live from Camper Corral in Madison. I'm looking forward to it. And my man Thomas up there brought back all kinds of goodies from Country Meat Packers on Highway 49 in Florence, including country pleasing sausage. And so, if nothing else, we're going to eat good tomorrow. All right. And I hope you'll come out and see us. Even if it's for a minute or two, stop by. Stop by. Let me take a picture with you on my phone from C Spire. And then I'll post it. Say, hey, look who came by. You never know. It might even be, we might even see more bully. Speak of the devil. On the Davini Equipment phone line, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. We have a call on line 1 from the MOORE. It's me. More bully, welcome to the show. What's up?
Matt White.
Hey.
It's me. It's me. It's the MOORE, bully. What's happening?
Do you do that on other shows when you call also, or just this one?
Oh, no. That's reserved.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Good.
Just for you.
Okay. All right.
It was created on this show and will only stay on this show.
Okay. Hey, do you know about these little bricks of peanut butter and cornflakes that I'm talking about that Annabeth got me?
Sure enough.
You like them?
There ain't much I don't know about food.
That's all right.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, I gotta say something here, okay?
Okay.
I just figured out right before I called. I know I've been calling talk radio, sports talk radio, for a long time. I've hosted like political talk radio shows on another station several many times.
Okay.
I've been calling sports talk radio for 30 years this year. And I go all the way back before there was anybody but Brian Eubank and Kevin, what's his name? And they started that show at MC in the radio station.
How about that?
And I started calling then in 1995.
That's pretty impressive. Now, I got to give you that. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you. So, with that being said,
hey, how much money has that made you over the years? Being a consistent radio caller.
I lost count, man. most of it went to child support anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, these little young buck yahoos who are just finding out about sports talk radio, they need to watch who they call out. I mean, don't you be calling me out.
Well, as you say that, RT just texted us, and he didn't call you. It was a text about you since you called in here, and he didn't refer to you as more bully. He called you more bulky.
I don't even know what RT means. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Like, these people just make up initials. You ain't nobody, okay? Nobody. They don't even know your real name. I mean, 3/4 of every audience that I call into know my real name.
He texted in and said that you must be on lunch break.
You got that right. I make a living.
And then he said,
and this is my side hustle.
Well, then he said for you to bring it on because he's 50. He's a man. He's 50.
I don't care. He's what?
50 years old.
Oh, I got him beat. I don't care. So listen, with me saying that information, you know what Andre the Giant, one of his nicknames was?
What's that?
He's the 8th wonder of the world. Mm-hmm. That's what they called him. Well, with me being on sports talk radio for 30 years, I can carry a sports talk radio show without even calling in. I heard my name called out yesterday, and I wasn't even calling in. So people need more bully. And with that being said, Matt, I hereby declare I am now the 9th wonder of the world. Woo! How about that?
I think anybody can call themselves anything they want to in America. I think it's a free country.
Nobody, I mean nobody, can call themselves more bully but the original.
Hey, and I'll ask you a question that I asked Beaver earlier today. How do you feel about personalized license plates?
Love them. I got one. You know I got one. You know what it says? It says, more bully. First year to have it.
That's good.
And the people that honk at me and throw me money and pull me over, I have one guy in a parking lot say, you more bully. I said, yeah. He said, hold on 1 minute. My wife wants to meet you.
Really? How about that?
Yes, sir.
How
True
about
story. Yep.
Hey, are they
worldwide.
are they expensive? Those personalized license plates, are they expensive?
No, they're like $60 more.
Okay. I think I.
But
asked
like
you
the
that
black
one
ones goes to policemen who were injured in the line of duty or lost their lives.
Yeah. You know what?
So I got
bully.
a black one. Of course, you know I had a national championship tag.
Yeah. What happened to it?
It's hanging up in my shop.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm going to auction and tell people it was mine. If 105.9 ever has a silent auction, I'm going to put it up. It'll probably bring tens of thousands of millions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure.
Don't you think?
Well, no. But that's a fun thought, though.
Huh?
I said, no, it's not going to bring a lot of money, but
come on.
It would be for a good cause. Yeah. Whatever it did bring.
I know. I know how y'all.
Hey, Boomer Sooner just texted the show and said that you are acting like a Feinbaum caller.
Hey, I made Feinbaum.
I'm sure.
How about that?
I'm sure.
I mean, you know, I can be anything I want, but the thing is, Matt, you know me outside of being this little more bully guy. And deep down, I'm a pretty good guy. And all this is just fun and games, and I know I make people mad, and I love it.
Hey, well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you listening and calling. You know,
yes,
especially on a day like this. And I don't know when's the last time you ran into her, but when you do, tell Granny we said hey.
I ain't no dadgum Granny.
I didn't say you were. I said say hey to her.
People have accused me of being Granny.
Well, but more bully, when you react that way, it makes them think. It's like the whole a bit dog barks thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying. The next time somebody says,
"Don't
hey,"
make me run with the marketing. Don't make me work with the marketing scheme.
I'm just
more
saying.
bully, really Granny.
You sounded.
Granny
All I
more
said
bully.
was.
I run commercials.
All I
got
said
money.
was tell Granny hello, and you said I'm not Granny. I mean.
Yeah. Yep. I want Granny to call in though.
She's welcome to call.
He's gonna call in.
She's welcome to call if she wants.
I gotta go. I gotta go make some money.
All right, lunch break's over.
Yep.
See you, boy. Thanks for the call. My man, more bully. Look, Boomer Sooner, you texted it about the time I was thinking about it. That he's kind of sounding like he thinks he called Paul. Hey, Beeve.
Hey.
Did you hear how he reacted when I said all I said was say hello to Granny?
Yeah. That's kind of like when someone, I don't know, let's say you're investigated for something and you start rubbing your neck and what? You're asked a question. It's always, if you repeat the question, then
it's a telltale sign.
Yeah. So, there was so much wrong with what just went down here. So much ridiculousness. But another point I noticed. All right, I can get beyond all the nonsense of people know me, all that nonsense, whatever.
He said, some man said, hey, my wife wants to meet you.
Exactly. But then he went an extra step you don't do. I feel like if anybody who tells people how good of a person they are,
yeah,
That's one of the biggest red flags ever. If you have to tell somebody, I'm a good person, I don't know, seems questionable. You're probably real sketch.
You're saying that's something you shouldn't have to say, right, babe?
Yeah, that's not for you to say. That's for other people who know you, who witness you.
Beaver, you're saying that, let's say, like a person who goes around verbally saying, so everyone out loud can hear them say, they go around saying how successful they are and how much they have.
Yes.
Yes. You're saying that that's a telltale sign that there's some insecurity there, that they really aren't as successful as they say they are?
Yes, insecurity. Let's bring it home. Being on this sports talk radio genre, this business, people who come on and tell you what they've done. Wow, we've been around so long. We're a good show. This is such a great show. We've made millions. We've done thousands of shows. We've done this and that. Red flag. There's more bully, and more bully is the everyman version of that.
Yeah, Beeve, you know what it is? It's like that episode of Cops I was watching one time. Saw it with my own eyes. All right. And I think I know there's someone listening that's heard me tell this story before, so I'm sorry for the repeat. But Beaver, I feel like you're probably going to agree with this. What we're saying here, what More Bully just did, what we're talking about, people who brag on themselves. But it's a sign of it's like that episode of Cops I saw where it was a trailer park and some of the neighbors had to call the police because one of the neighbors allegedly was walking around the neighborhood with no clothes on. It was an older man, an older gentleman, nice big gut on him, who allegedly was just completely stark naked walking around in the neighborhood. So the police on Cops, they get the call. And you see in the car, they get the call and they're like, okay, here we go. They drive up. They ask one of the neighbors, hey, did you call? They said, no, but we know who did call. And it's they call him about Mr. So-and-so. They said, well, where does he live? He's like, that's his right down there. Number so-and-so, so-and-so. So the police walk up to the door, Beaver. They knock on the door. After a second, the door opens. Man appears in nothing but a pair of sweatpants. They ask one question. Mr. So-and-so, have you been outside tonight? And his answer was, and I quote, yeah, I had my clothes on. And the policeman, his partner, started laughing. And the policeman goes, well, now, Mr. So-and-so, why would you feel like you needed to tell me you had your clothes on when I didn't even ask you that? He said, you just gave yourself away. Why did you feel like, well, I had my clothes on. It's a dead giveaway. I said, more bully, say hey to Granny. I'm not Granny. I didn't say you were Granny. Why would you feel like you need to tell me that? That's what it was. Let's see here. What did he say?
He just played you like a fiddle, by the way.
He did? How?
He got
me to talk about him?
Yes, he talked. He called and talked for like 86 straight minutes. And then once he finally shut his gob and went away, we just did 5 more minutes, and you mentioned his name like 6 more times. It's exactly what he wanted, Matt Wyatt.
He did. But it was funny Wasn't the cops reference kind of funny? Don't you think somebody got some kick out of that? Jason is asking, what was it that he mentioned about? It was something that he did that was to benefit. Oh, it was Jason. It was in the state of Mississippi, of the different car tag options. There's one, it is a black car tag, like the thing's just black with white letters. And when you purchase one of those for your vehicle, proceeds go to benefit. I think that's right. It benefits law enforcement, families of those who lost their lives in the line of duty, and those kinds of things, and supports law enforcement in Mississippi. That's my understanding. We have one of those too. Joe Mailman says Columbo caught Granny. We caught him. I can't say his name though, because Beaver says he's gotten plenty of airtime right now. Flowtown Ghost said it's a sign of a narcissist. There's a lot of stuff out there these days about narcissists. Like everybody's talking about that. But see, Real C said it too. He said narcissist. No, it's somebody else on Cops. That's been many, many years ago. Paramount texted the show and he said, hey, Beaver, I've been talking college football for 15 years. I'm on the air in 15 states. Quoting Chuck Oliver. Tell me about it. When we come back, I'll tell you how smart I am and how long I've been doing radio. How much I know. Back after this.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here, leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area. The blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them for a reason. Insurance doesn't happen from 8 to 5. When you need me, it's going to be after 5. It hardly ever happens where you have a wreck, get pulled over, need an insurance card, wind blows, shingles off your roof. All these things happen, and it's typically after 5. And so the ability for someone to call me, get in contact with me, text me, ask me a question, and that's what it's about to me, is helping the people that we serve, is taking care of people, and them knowing that they can count on me whenever they need me. I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. Murray. All right, back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studios. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. You want some football? We got some football. All right, we got it. Hang on. So Craig on YouTube commented earlier and said, Phil Steele ranks Mississippi State's football schedule as the second toughest in the nation this season. Well, and my only question there, Craig, would be who's got a tougher one, allegedly, than State this year? And Craig was looking in the Phil Steele magazine. Bulldogs have 16 returning starters, 9 on offense and 7 on defense. Yeah, and there's some of those that are returning starters that are not going to be playing as much as they were. I think that's pretty much a guarantee. It's interesting, though, and I don't think he's wrong at all about the schedule. I am curious who they had as the number one. If somebody's got State's schedule as number 2, I'd love to look at the one that they say is number 1. Sven commented there behind Craig on YouTube and said, Phil Steele isn't wrong. Not a single team has to play 4 playoff teams from last year, plus another top 15 team. State has the hardest schedule. Said, no, not Wisconsin, Oklahoma, or Florida comes even close. And see, that's what I'm wondering. I'd love to know who they rank number 1. And I'd compare States versus that one. But, there's some tough ones out there, but I'd love to see it. And then regarding Arizona State, Craig said, Arizona State's got 17 returning starters. They're going to be very tough again. And, I would think, without looking it up, that's a different kind of thing for a playoff team. Like Arizona State, a playoff team a year ago. So they probably have a bunch of starters who are going to play a lot. I'm not entirely sure what that's going to equate to for State if someone lists 16 returning starters and it says you have 9 on offense and then 7 on defense, because it's a little bit different there because some of those are going to be displaced, certainly on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, and on that note, so Florida? Okay, RT says Florida plays Miami and Florida State. And Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, South Carolina. Okay. All right, so they got Florida number 1 as the number 1 toughest schedule. And regardless of home and away, I mean, it's tough, right? Over there, they're going to have Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, for example. And then out of conference, they have both Florida State and Miami. Gotcha. but yeah, okay. I mean, I get it. Yeah, Miami. Were Miami or Florida State either one a playoff team last year? No. They're SEC schools: Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, South Carolina. Which of those were playoff teams? I know Georgia. Was Tennessee a playoff team last year? I'm not debating that they have a really tough schedule. Let's see, RT says Miami lost one or two games. And really, again, I'm not debating whether or not they have a tough schedule. They obviously do have a very tough schedule. Okay, and one of the things that jumps out at you about theirs is the doubling up on the power non-cons, right? Playing Florida State as a rivalry deal at the end of the year, but then also playing Miami early. But also in the SEC, they have LSU in Baton Rouge early in the year. They have Texas at home in Gainesville early in the year. They go to A&M and then host State, neutral site Georgia, go to Lexington, go to Oxford, get Tennessee at home. Yeah, and then out of conference, Florida State, Miami, South Florida, which is not a pushover by any stretch, and then what's LI? Their season opener is somebody called LIU. Anybody know who that is? Know who LIU is. Long Island University's got a football team. We're not blaming Florida based on this schedule for playing Long Island. I mean, go ahead on and just please get somebody in there, and that's going to be their season opener, right? Because again, yeah, South Florida, what were they a year ago? A couple of years ago, they were in coaching transition mode, weren't they? I'm trying to see if I can find their schedule from last year. Yeah, because I was thinking they improved a year ago, but I can't quote it to you right off the top of my head. 24. Here it is. Hold tight. South Florida last year. Yeah, they were 7-6 overall. They had wins over Bethune-Cookman, Southern Miss, UAB, FAU, Charlotte, Tulsa, and then beat San Jose State in overtime in their bowl game. So they're a bowl team. That's what I'm saying. Not a pushover by any stretch. And the year before they were kind of bad, but made some improvement last year. Yeah, that's it. You know, the fact that, you know, conference includes Georgia, LSU, Texas, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Tennessee, and State. And then non-cons, you got Florida State. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think they are. You know, you probably would. That's probably the right thing to do, put them ahead. Toughest schedule. But still, I think State's right there in terms of tough schedules. Talking about playoff teams, numbers of playoff teams, that's one way to also frame it. Sven pointed that out. He said Florida plays 2 playoff teams. And in non-conference, a 2-win FSU with a head coach who had 3 losing seasons the last 5 years. Well, 3 playoff teams? Yeah, because Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. So they have 3. Sven said, but we play also 3 playoff teams. Arizona State, who's better than Miami. Ole Miss, equals South Carolina, play on the road, at Florida, at A&M, at Missouri, and at Arkansas. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, it's a tough schedule. It is, but I think Florida's probably just by default, and some of that's probably a little tougher. But again, you know, some of this, you judge it based on what you know about a team from a year ago. You look at an opponent and you go, well, not a tough one, or that is a tough one. I mean, it's based on what a year ago, and there's so much that changes now from year to year, more so than it used to, because teams turn over faster, rosters turn over faster. Everybody's transferring out, new guys transferring in. So it's not as safe an assumption to, here's what a team is this year based on last year as it used to be. If that makes any sense. You know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We've got about a minute here before some music will begin, and then we'll have some time after the next commercial break. But I'm going to pull up and look. And I mentioned Paul Rhodes earlier. I mentioned Mike McIntyre earlier. But I'll illustrate that for you just a little bit, looking at kind of who they are and where they've been. Defensive analysts that they bring in to help State on the defensive side of the ball, who last year had a couple of, just glaring, problems even going into the year that really sort of festered on them. And that was, poor, under-recruited roster on the defensive side, paired with first-year defensive coordinator who never been a defensive coordinator before. And he's going to cut his teeth with a bad roster in the SEC. That's like a disaster waiting to happen. And that's kind of what it was. I mean, there was a few times they'd do a few good things, but they were, they were non-competitive on the defensive line and all that. So they addressed that in the portal. But another thing they did is they went out and addressed just sort of I don't know how else to say it. It sounds like you're picking on the previous. I'm not. I'm just saying, but they went out and addressed and improved the brain power. The level of experience and numbers of years of experience and sort of the thought process and the brain power on a defensive side. And when you say defensive analyst at a school, in the case of a Paul Rhodes or a McIntyre, to me what that means is you're analyzing everything. Yeah, individual players, their development, position fit, getting people in the right spots on the field, analyzing depth, who's being used when and where, self-scouting overall, what you can and can't do from a package and a coverage and a formation and a blitz and all that, but also analyzing opponents and what you need to do and how you need to approach it and where the matchups are. And, we'll talk about that a little bit next, among other things, when we wrap it up. But I do think it's an under-talked about and appreciated thing that they did to try to address some problems on a football team. So we'll hit that when we come back. A little bit of time left with you here on this Thursday. I'm Matt. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, "Country pleasing, please." They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. It's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough.
1059.com.
Back with you, I'm Matt. In the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! The home team. Hunter, I missed this a little bit earlier when you sent it regarding Tony Gwynn, and it is a stat that I've seen over the years. It never ceases to kind of knock my eyes out when I see it, but here it is. He said, "Hey, Matt, I heard an unbelievable stat about Tony Gwynn from a Greg Maddux interview. 4 Hall of Fame pitchers: Greg Maddux, Pedro Martinez, John Smoltz, and Tom Glavine. 4 Hall of Fame pitchers with 12,000 strikeouts combined in their career. Those 4 faced Tony Gwynn over 330 times, and they combined struck him out 3 times. It's just, I know it's a lot of numbers, but you could just start with this. Maddux, Martinez, Smoltz, and Glavine combined had over 300 shots at Tony Gwynn and struck him out 3 times combined. You couldn't strike the guy out. You could not strike the guy out. Some of y'all heard it before, but Jay Powell, World Series pitcher, winner for the Marlins, first-round draft pick out of Mississippi State, all-around great guy, local coach now. He's coaching up in the Cape right now. We were texting earlier. He was talking about how cold it is up there. He's got to put a jacket on. It's so cold up here. Jealous. But anyway, he tells a great story about facing Tony Gwynn and the fact that he's convinced. And the way he tells it, I mean, you'll be convinced too. He's convinced that Tony Gwynn was swinging and missing it at certain pitches he threw on purpose so as to set him up. You know how pitchers set hitters up? He basically was saying it sounded like Gwynn was setting him up. phenomenal to think about. And did you know, Hunter, that Tony Gwynn was like an all-American basketball player at San Diego State while he was in college also? Point guard. Just an incredible athlete. White Denzel texted the show and said, Granny getting a shout-out on the Matt Wyatt show. I just sent her a text to let her know. Good. Regarding the black support of law enforcement license plates in the state of Mississippi, Jason in Flagstaff said, number one, I salute anyone involved in that after my uncle was killed in the line of duty. And then he said, number two, Beaver complaining about how long Bully's call was cracked me up. Reminded me of when Roger used to go off on Chicken Hawk. Quote, you get 2 minutes. He would, wouldn't he? Oh, Chicken Hawk. Roger would say. He would sarcastically say things when Chicken Hawk get done with that. He'd hit his button, get on the air, and goes, well, all right, we'll see you tomorrow, Matt. It's all for today's show. Oh, Roger. I miss that guy. Yeah, J-Rock also agreed that more Bully would be a great Feinbaum caller. MSU 1980 texted the show. He said, Matt, I was just looking for something on Facebook while I was listening to you. Scrolled down, came across you doing a promotion for Camper Corral. That's right, Camper Corral customer appreciation sale started today, goes through Saturday. Huge discounts on all the stuff. Campers, RVs, every part that they sell. I mean, you're getting huge discounts on all of that at Camper Corral today, tomorrow, Saturday. And we'll be there for the radio show tomorrow, 12 to 2. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, as they say. But you saw that. He says, I didn't have the sound on. So he's seeing me on Facebook, he said, and then he could hear my voice on the radio, and they didn't match, and it seemed odd to him. Yeah, and how'd you like those pictures? MSU 1980 saw some of the pictures we took at Pickwick this past weekend. Yeah, it's beautiful up there. All right, RT said, Joe Judge is our analyst, former state coach. Talking about Ole Miss. He said, McIntyre, former Rebel defensive coordinator, Colorado coach. And then says, didn't Judge get or almost get the New York Giants job? Yes. Joe Judge was the head coach for the New York Giants for a couple of years, fairly recently. You know, and look, Joe is a wonderful guy. I think the world of Joe. Great guy. I almost called him a kid because there was a time in my life I would have referred to Joe as a kid. Great kid. But great guy and wonderful family. And, yeah, you know, he played at State but he and his family, I think, have really enjoyed their time in Oxford and seem to be. And his kids are having a lot of success. And I think Joe really loves working for Kiffin too. And I know the family loves Oxford. And they're wonderful people. They really are, the Judges, Amber and the whole family. But yeah, okay. So on that note, I told you I would look this up, and I did. So Mike McIntyre, who you mentioned, RT, and Paul Rhodes. Those are the two notable defensive analysts that Mississippi State hired after this past year to come in there and help Coach Hutzler and everybody on the defensive side. And I don't think it's a small thing. Now, what difference it makes, I don't know. But Paul Rhodes is listed as senior defensive analyst, and Mike McIntyre is listed as defensive analyst. But again, look at what you're adding in terms of everything that not just one, but now two of these kind of guys, are able to be a part of what you're doing on that side of the ball. When you add players that you desperately need in certain positions in depth and defensive line on that side, so you do improve your talent level and your roster defensively. And then on top of that, when it comes to self-scout, breaking down your own film, putting players in the right position, what do you do to develop? Where do they need to be? Experience there, scouting opponents, everything that a defensive analyst is going to do. McIntyre, played defensive back in the 80s, two different schools, Vandy and Georgia Tech. Started coaching at Georgia in 90 as a GA. 92 was a defensive coordinator. Like, he's 3 years out of school now, and he became the defensive coordinator at a school called Davidson. And then a DC at UT Martin, mid-90s. 97, 98, he was a defensive coordinator at Temple. He coached receivers at Ole Miss, 99, 2000, and then 01, 02, he coached DBs at Ole Miss. Then he coached DBs for the Cowboys for 4 seasons in the NFL, up through 06. 07, he was with the Jets. Went back to college in 2008 and 9, was Duke's defensive coordinator. Then he became the head coach at San Jose State for 3 years, 10, 11, 12. Then he became the head coach at Colorado for several years, up until 2018. Goes back to Ole Miss that you mentioned, RT. He's a DC at Ole Miss in 19, became Memphis's defensive coordinator in 20 and 21. He was the head coach at FIU the last 3 years in Miami, and now he's a defensive analyst there at State. And so it's hard to be more, quote unquote, around the block in your career than that. So that's one defensive analyst, head coach, defensive coordinator, multiple times, been coaching for 30 years. And kind of running concurrent, Paul Rhodes, the other that we mentioned, former head coach at Iowa State. He's a defensive analyst at State now. You look at his career. Started out 89-90 as a GA at Utah State. Had 1 year as a GA at Ohio State. There, I think that's 91. Okay, so then he goes, he's coaching DBs at Pacific for 3 years on the West Coast. Then he's coaching linebackers mid-90s at Iowa State. Late 90s, he switched over, coached DBs. Okay, then he went to Pitt. He was the Pitt defensive coordinator for 8 seasons, 2000 through 2007 at Pitt, defensive coordinator. He was a D coordinator at Auburn for 1 year in 08, and then became the head coach at Iowa State in 09. So 2009 to 2015, he's Iowa State's head coach. 16, he coached DBs at Arkansas and became the DC the next year, defensive coordinator at Arkansas in 17. Went to UCLA for 2 years, 18, 19. Was a defensive coordinator at Arizona 1 year in 2020. 21, he was at Ohio State as a defensive analyst at Ohio State. So he's done this analyst role before. Boston College in 23, coached outside linebackers, and now he's a defensive analyst at State. So again, there's 2 of those guys with those kinds of resumes. Defensive coordinator all over the place, position coach all over the place, and Division I head coach on the resume. They've been through it. Both have been doing it for 30 years. You all of a sudden, you didn't have anybody like that at all on last year's defensive staff, and now you throw 2 of them in the mix this year with a little bit of a better roster, and we'll see how much better. It's just, I think it's an underrated move by the program to do that, to have those guys there. I mean, I think it's a big deal. All right, that'll wrap it up for today. We'll see you tomorrow at Camper Corral, 12 to 2 for the Customer Appreciation Sale. Looking forward to that. For Beaver, I'm Matt, all of us here on the show. See you tomorrow.